for all kinds of nests. TVFCU Home Loans.
Shake off those winter blues with some retail therapy at Mercantile at the Ridge. Browse over 100 shops, all under one roof. Apparel, home decor, and so much more. Lots to see at Mercantile at the Ridge. Ringgold Road, East Ridge. Exit 1 off I-75.
Happy Easter from Peavine Baptist Church. Services Thursday through Sunday.
If you have gotten your taxes done, congratulations. If you are still kind of eking it out until the very last minute, you definitely are not alone. But this time of year, an awful lot of us begin to think kind of about our financial portfolio. Are we doing the right thing? Do we even have a portfolio to be trying to grow? The answer is yes on that one, because Brittany and Jay Hagee are back on the show. They have Allon Planning Partners.
Hey.
And I think what makes y'all so great for our viewers this morning is that if you've got a nice nest egg and you want to grow it, come to you. If you're just starting out and you think I don't even have enough money to worry about yet, come to you.
That's right.
Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, we try to make ourselves available no matter what stage of life you're in. And so I think what really sets us apart is we do comprehensive financial planning. And so you were talking about tax preparation there for a minute. We help with tax planning. There are really differences between tax paying and tax planning. Tax paying is looking in the rearview mirror and saying, hey, how can I get out of a little bit more of my tax dollars this year? And tax planning is looking ahead in the full frontal view of your driver's seat and saying, how do I pay less taxes in the next 10 years, right? And so we help with a lot of tax planning, income planning, obviously allocation planning and investment management, but no matter where you're at in your stage of life, we try to offer solutions so that you can get to the financial goals that you have.
Let's talk about that stage of life for just a little bit, if we can, because I'm probably kind of smack dab in the middle of everybody watching. So here I sit in my mid-50s, right? So I'm still growing my portfolio, but I've got mine. I have a mother in her 90s. I have kids that are just kind of beginning their life. So to think that there might be one group that could help us all would, to me, seem to be kind of unrealistic, but that's what you do.
We do. We help people in all different phases and stages of life, and that looks different for each family or each group of people. But we begin with investment management. We begin with what you're saving, how you're saving it, the positioning of that, and the positioning is going to look very different for folks in different stages of life. For folks with different assets, folks with different income. Looking at the entire financial picture is that's where we begin. Not just looking at strictly investment management. Most folks, when they're talking about financial planning, they think, oh, I've got a 401k, I've got a financial plan. That's not a financial plan. That's a piece of the plan. That's a component of the plan, but not the plan itself. So we begin with investment management. That's where you have to start. That's the cornerstone. What am I saving? Am I putting enough away? How is it positioned? How do I get to the goals I want to reach? But then beyond that, we're looking at, as Jay mentioned, the income planning, how to produce income when you do get to retirement. How do you take income from those assets? We're looking at tax planning. So again, not just current year, but subsequent years as well. Tax planning, especially for those who are nearing RMD age, those who are, which is 73 right now. So where you're required to take dollars out of those accounts. So planning towards that so you don't have a massive tax bill that you're not expecting because of that. And then of course, healthcare and estate planning are also important components when you're looking at the big picture. So it's kind of like, we use the terminology of a mosaic. It's a mosaic. We're taking this 10,000 foot view of the entire financial situation and taking it one little piece at a time and putting it together to create the full plan and the full picture.
For as many years as y'all have been doing it, have you watched, you mentioned the required minimum distribution at 73. People are working longer and longer. So is that still a requirement even if you're still employed at 73?
Oh, absolutely, especially with your IRA dollars, right? Some folks that are still working with their 401k dollars, there is a stipulation there, but in your IRA dollars, you have to take a required minimum distribution at 73 no matter what.
No matter what.
But I wanted to go back to one thing you said about being multi-generational, because we absolutely pride ourselves in being able to do that. We work with a lot of folks near and in retirement, and they're like, my kids really need this. They need to be started early, and we love people to start young because you cannot make up for the time that you'll miss of compounding interest, the eighth wonder of the world. So we want people to start young, right? But then also we've worked with young folks, and they're like, man, my parents really need help in retirement, and working with multi-generational and families like that is a pride of ours. So we love being able to, no matter where you're at on the spectrum, give great financial advice, because everybody, no matter where you're at in life, you need to know, how do I most effectively get to the goal that I have?
Okay, I want you to go back to the compounding interest, the eighth wonder of the world, as you said. Because if you are right now, chances are if you're under 30, a lot of Americans under 30 feel a little bit hopeless, right? I'm sure y'all see that too.
Inflation rates out of control.
Is on the decline. That report came out just this week.
Okay.
Overall.
It's a real thing.
It is.
It is.
So they might sit and talk to their parents maybe, who would say, go ahead and try to save whatever you can. And it would be, yeah, right, you don't have a clue how I'm really living. So here y'all are young, kind of in that same, though you're raising a family.
Absolutely.
To say saving even a little bit, I'm guessing.
Makes a huge difference.
Makes a difference.
Can you elaborate a little?
Man, it's a matter of priorities. That's what we talk about. It really is a matter of priorities. We, especially the younger generations, are, I want it and I want it now, right? Microwave society. But if we take a portion of that and say, okay, here's what I'm going to live on now. Take a portion of what you're earning and say, this is to pay my future self. So look at it. You're not losing that money. You're paying your future self. You're setting yourself up for better financial positioning and success down the road. So it's a paycheck that you will receive later, and not just what you put in, but the compounding interest over, even for people starting young, decades. It makes a massive difference when you start in your 20s and 30s versus your 40s and 50s.
Well, because the hardest part is to go from 0 to 100,000 in savings. That's the hardest part. So it may take a decade or so to get there, right? And so when we're telling folks, hey, just skip that one Starbucks drink or one high expensive meal that you're eating one time a week and put that in savings. It's not because we want them to be miserable and not have a great life. It's because we understand the hardest struggle is to get from that 0 to 100,000. And then once you start building that snowball, that's what compounding interest does. You can go from 100,000 to $1 million in savings a lot quicker because of compounding interest on that money. So it's really, starting is the hardest part, whether that's in your fitness life and exercising, in your finances. It's always starting is the hardest part, but we encourage people to do that.
Okay, so the starting point today was really just to remind you of what they do at Allon Planning, because it is different from what you're going to find at a lot of places. Your financial growth is a part of it, but it's not the totality of it.
That's right.
So wherever you fall in life, they'd love to hear from you. 315-1441, allonplanning.com. And one last thing, because they are husband and wife, they speak both languages. So when you come in together, they're great interpreters.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
A simple step can lead to unexpected consequences. Navigating the aftermath of a slip or fall isn't